Hello, 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 and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. Lots of stories coming about. There's a story about Luke Shaw being told to leave, Luke Shaw being open to leaving, but the same guy that said that is also reporting that Matheus Cunha is a done deal, so it's interesting. Andre, I was about to say Amadou there. Andre Onana, there's reports of him being dropped. I'm not sure how true that is. That is a different source, but I have been told exclusively that Andre Onana has been told he can look for a new club. It is more performance-based. Amorim has not been happy with Onana since probably February, March time, and Onana is allowed to look for a new club. That doesn't mean Onana is going to leave. That doesn't mean Onana won't be our keeper next season, but what it does mean is United wants a new goalkeeper. Amorim wants a new goalkeeper. I think that's known. But also, Onana, again, was told this in the past and relayed this again yesterday. He doesn't like the 25% wage cut. He doesn't like that we're not in the Champions League. He's got a new agent in as well. He's open to the move. We're going to talk about the latest on Bruno Fernandes' exit. We're going to talk about the latest on that. Amorim has spoken about Bruno's exit. Romano was confirmed again. Lindelof, last game, Lindelof will leave. Romano confirms that exit there. And then if we have time, we will get into the other news and stories because there's a bit going about on Garnacho. Garnacho probably, apparently, according to reports, will not even be involved today. Romano is saying United will have a busy summer. The Muppeteers are saying we want 3 attacking additions. There's quite a fair bit of information coming out. I'll get into the Luke Shaw story, and then I will get into the Onana story because I've had information on Onana for a while, but I've got a few bits of information on Onana yesterday that linked with some information I got the day before, which linked with some information I got a few months ago. But I wanted to dive into this story, first of all, which said that Luke Shaw is not in Ruben Amorim's plans and he's ready to leave Manchester United in the summer window. Now, I'm not familiar with the source. I don't know how credible the source is. I don't know if this is a good source of information. He's saying Cunha's essentially a done deal, which I feel like is potentially jumping the gun a little bit. I feel like he's jumping the gun a little bit. But Luke Shaw gave an interview after the Europa League final, a suggestion that he knows maybe he's not good enough for United anymore. He'll see his teammates like Mctominay leave United and do well. His wages will be down 25%. The best thing to come out, and I'm going to say this now, the best thing to come out of losing the Europa League final is the fact that the players lose 25% of their wages and the players aren't happy about that. And that means it's a little bit easier to shift players on when their wages aren't as high. So the players you want to get rid of, they're more maybe inclined to go. Now, Ruben Amorim was still is brutal. He's kicked Marcus Rashford out. He's basically kicked Alejandro Garnacho out. Apparently, he told Garnacho in front of the whole squad he can find a new club in front of the whole squad. Like, didn't have a meeting with Garnacho. He just shamed him in front of the whole squad is apparently what's been said. But apparently, Luke Shaw is not in Amorim's plans. That doesn't surprise me. He can't stay fit. He was not good in the final. I think Luke Shaw, when fit, is a good player. And I actually thought he suited Amorim's system. But I feel like he's been out for so long, he's rusty. And I think when he chose playing in the Euros for England over Manchester United, I think that was the end of Luke Shaw. I think that's when the players turned on Luke Shaw. I think that Luke Shaw himself may look. I think Luke Shaw could run down his contract, get a free agent move next year, more options, big signing on bonus. That's what Lindelof did this year. I think Luke Shaw, that's what Eriksen did this year when we tried to offload Lindelof and Eriksen. I think Luke Shaw could definitely run down his contract, but there will be interest in Luke Shaw. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Luke Shaw is actually a good player. He's like, I mean, in the final was atrocious. And, you know, this last year and a half at Man United has been atrocious from Shaw because of the injuries. But he is rated. He is seen to be a good player. So with Luke Shaw, I reckon there could be interest from a team like Napoli, could be interest from a team in Italy. I wouldn't be shocked if he moved to Italy. I also wouldn't be shocked if he ran down his deal. But I want to talk about Andre Onana because I put out a tweet earlier today and I want to give a bit of context to this information as well. I put out a bit of an exclusive earlier today in regards to Onana. And it was essentially said that Andre Onana has been told he can look for a new club this summer. He's unhappy about missing out on UCL football, especially with his 25% wage cut kicking in, and is open to a Saudi move, is what I was told. Selling him won't be easy due to his 26 million book value, but Amorim wants a new number one, and that has been reported very heavily by a lot of journalists that Amorim wants a new number one. United may look to use funds from Bayern's sale to bring in a better keeper to challenge Onana, though there's still hopeful a deal could be done for Onana. Amorim not happy with the player, as we know he wants a new goalkeeper, and chances of Onana playing in today's match is considered low, which was said by a different source of information. But I wanted to dive into this in regards to Andre Onana and information that I was told on this whole situation. So I've been told months ago, and it had been heavily reported, that Amorim didn't rate Onana. He didn't want Onana, and that's been heavily reported. He wants a new goalkeeper. But, Amorim's stance will always be, happy with Onana, want to bring the best out of him, bits of him that I like, but probably rather have a new number one. Now, we know from Laurie Whitwell a couple of months ago that Andre Onana actually sacked his agent and brought in a new agent to try and negotiate a contract at Man United to get rid of the 25% wage cut clause if we don't get Champions League football. So, obviously, a source, which is a different source to the usual guy that tells me things, but I have no reason not to trust this source because he's told me 2 bits of information in the past, both of which were proven correct the next day by tier 1 sources of information. So I have no reason not to trust this guy. Spoke to him yesterday and he said, look, Andre Onana's been told he can look for a new club. Even suggested that Andre Onana had been told way earlier than, just this week that he could look for a new club. Onana's been aware that he can have a look around for a new club. There was reports of Neon and Onana in talks with Neon, but I was told that the reports to Onana to Saudi are not as advanced. There's interest from Onana in Saudi and there's interest from Saudi in Onana, but I was told it's not as advanced as what had previously been reported, but there is interest there confirmed. But Onana himself never really wanted to leave Man United, but now knowing that Ruben Amorim would happily move him on, and now knowing that his wages will not go up 25%, Onana in himself is open to potentially moving to Saudi. Onana himself is open to potentially moving to Saudi, but selling him won't be easy because Onana has a 26, I think it's 26.7 if we're going to be exact, 26 million book value, which means if Manchester United got 25 million for Onana, we could spend 1 less million in the summer because of PSR rules. So, nobody's going to come in like Aston Villa and pay 26 million for Onana. Man United want 30 million for Onana, so we don't take a loss in terms of book values. And that's why selling Mount is impossible this summer. That's why selling Højlund is difficult this summer because we need, I think, 38 million for Højlund. That's why selling Anthony, we want 30 million from Real Betis, which we should get because he's done really well on loan. So with Onana, because we bought him 2 years ago and we're still paying off that fee, he's got 26 million on his book value left. 26 million on his book value left. Amorim wants a new keeper, but it's difficult. Right now, the most realistic option, and I'm going to be honest with you, is Bayindir goes because everyone kind of knows Bayindir is going to go unless no one wants him. So the most realistic option is Bayindir goes, we get 4 or 5 million for Bayindir, and we get £11 million keeper in, and we can't sell Onana, and that £11 million keeper is maybe a better keeper than Bayindir, which isn't difficult, and will challenge Onana and potentially take Onana's spot. That is looking the most realistic scenario. But Onana, 25% wage cut, new agent, knows that Ruben Amorim is happy to move him on. Onana, who a couple of months ago did not want to leave Man United, under Ten Hag, Onana did not want to leave Man United, he was happy at Manchester United, now, has got a new agent in, has got a little bit of interest in Saudi, so it will be interesting to see how this develops. This doesn't mean Onana's going to go. This doesn't mean Onana is getting kicked out, but I think, one sec. Okay, no, I just got sent something, but I thought it was from the same guy that sent me this, but it wasn't. So I was just checking something. But it is a situation of Amorim wants a new goalkeeper. And look, it's known. It's been known for a while. Thank you very much, Timmy, for joining the members club. Appreciate that. It's been known for a very long time. Amorim wants a new goalkeeper. That has been known for a new time. Amorim wants a new number one. It's not going to be easy to sell Onana. And there is reports that now we don't have UCL football and Onana's wages will be down 25% again next season. He's more open to leaving. That is what's been said in regards to Onana. And look, Onana needs to go. There's no doubt in my mind Onana needs to leave Manchester United. I tried to back him up because I thought in 2024 Onana was good. Like Onana in 2023, his first 3 months at Manchester United were horrific. He's the reason we finished rock bottom of our Champions League group. Onana's first 3 months at Manchester United were horrific. They were rock bottom. It was awful. Absolutely awful. And then I thought second half of last season, Onana started to turn it around. I think he had a good game versus Manchester City. He had a good game versus, was it Liverpool? And he looked good at the end of last season. And I actually thought the first 2-3 months of this season, he looked good. So I actually think in 2024, Onana looked all right. So I started being, you know what, Onana's looked a lot better lately. You know, he's still got a mistake in him. He still F's up his kicks here and there. But Onana's been all right. Come to about November time when Amorim came in. I remember that was it the Nottingham Forest game? Or was that Leach's bad game? I don't know. Onana had a bad game. It was at Amorim's second or third game, and he's been atrocious since. He has been. I tried to back Onana. I tried to be patient with him. I tried to say, you know what, we need a striker, we need a wing back, we need a centre mid more than we need a goalkeeper. But we do desperately need a goalkeeper. We do desperately need a goalkeeper. And yeah, look, I've had two people say to me today, within the last few days, that Onana's been dropped from the starting 11. So the guy that told me this story, the guy that told me this story that Onana's been told he can leave, told me the chances of Onana starting today are slim. He's likely to be dropped. And somebody else that I won't name, that I really trust, also suggested to me that Onana has been dropped. Somebody else, and I won't name him, but someone else suggested to me that I trust, different to this story, that Onana's been dropped, also suggested that Aiden Heaven could be starting today. But I want to get into a lot of news. I want to get into a lot of stories, but I'm just going to get into a few chats and then we'll continue on. There's a million chats in today. So look, I can't read them out, but people are saying, sell Onana, Mama Dashvili going Liverpool. Yeah, good keeper. A lot of people suggest him, but he's going Liverpool. I think we should go for Joan Garcia. I think if we can sell Onana and we can sell Baindir, Joan Garcia is 21 million pounds, 25 million euro release clause. So I would go for Joan Garcia. There's Lammens of Royal Antwerp. I don't know anything about him, but I know his statistics are good and the clips of him, he looks good. But I couldn't tell you how good he was from, you know, I don't sit there and watch Royal Antwerp, believe it or not. Alex says, can't persist with Onana, allowing such soft, easy goals on all time, total momentum killer. Do you know what annoys me about Onana? It's not just the soft goals, not just the goals he allows in, but you know in the Europa League final how he ran out. Onana ran out in the Europa League final, and Euro thought Onana was going to pick it up, and then Onana didn't come pick it up. It's those things. Or when Onana makes a save, I remember Alisson versus PSG in the first leg. Alisson made a really good save, and he used his hands to get the ball as far away from the danger zone at PSG. Whereas Onana will get the ball, make a save, and bam, there you go, Kvaratskhelia. I'll put the ball right in front of you. So yeah, I would go for Garcia, but look, I think there's a lot of teams interested in Garcia for how good he's been for Espanyol. Probably one of the reasons they could be relegated. Well, we need a keeper that's going to save us from relegation. So Garcia is the guy. There'll be a lot of competition. I don't think we'll get him, but he looks good as well. Thank you very much, Mark. Keep up the good work, Alice. By the way, appreciate that. I'm just going to get my screen back up and go into a few more stories, but I just wanted to start with Onana as well. What you're describing is the problem. Onana, wildly inconsistent, can't just have a few decent matches here and there. That's the problem with Onana, it's inconsistency. But a lot of people are saying, look, Luke Shaw going, Onana going, that's good news. There is talk of Heaven starting today. There is talk of Aiden Heaven starting today as well. So the fact that Luke Shaw maybe dropped for Aiden Heaven and the fact that Onana's maybe dropped today, adds more fuel to these stories that Onana and Luke Shaw have both been told they can leave Manchester United. Garcia has been linked to Arsenal, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Newcastle, everybody under the sun. That's why I think it's going to be a difficult race for him. Do you think Højlund will go? Højlund's like Onana. Højlund is 100% like Andre Onana. Amorim is probably open to getting an improvement on Højlund, but United won't sell him for less than £40 million. So I think Højlund's a loan with obligation. Milinkovic Savic from Torino. This wouldn't surprise me. The only goalkeeper we've been linked to a lot of goalkeepers, but this is the one where I think we've been linked to the most by reliable sources. This one wouldn't surprise me as well. Onana would be perfect for Chelsea. You know what? I'd take Onana over Sanchez. Onana needs to go, but I would take Onana over Sanchez. I'll tell you that now. I think Sanchez is bad. The Antwerp keeper, we should go for him. Look, I've not watched a lot of the Antwerp keeper, but his underlying numbers are very good. Very good. So yeah, it looks like it could be the end of the road for Onana. But as I've said with Onana on many times, United are open to selling Onana. United were open to selling Eriksen last summer. We couldn't sell Eriksen last summer. United want Rashford to go. and told Rashford to look for a new club. United hoping Chelsea buy Sancho. United are hoping that Betis or someone buy Anthony. United told Malacia he could look for a new club. Eriksen's leaving on a free. Lindelof's leaving on a free. That Romano has confirmed actually that Lindelof is leaving on a free. He's confirmed this exit now. But Man United, there's a lot of players that can go. And Højlund might stay. Onana might stay. But United are open to offers. United just financially need to get a certain amount of money. And the only way Onana leaves Manchester United is Saudi. Petrovic looks good, doesn't he? Petrovic looks good. So yeah, Romano has confirmed another exit, by the way. Romano has confirmed that Victor Lindelof will leave Manchester United at the end of the season. I think we all knew that. But with the shortage of centre-backs, you couldn't put it past United to give Lindelof a new deal. It would be the most Manchester United thing ever to give Lindelof or Evans a new deal. But gladly we haven't. They needed to go. Look, I'm actually kind of regretting being disrespectful to Lindelof because I tell you what, he wouldn't have done worse than Luke Shaw in that final. So I do apologise to you, Victor Lindelof. You probably wouldn't have done worse than Luke Shaw in the final. But Lindelof needs to go. He should have gone last year. And Romano's confirmed that this is... Lindelof could play today, you never know. This is Lindelof's last day at Manchester United. He's gone. So that is pretty much confirmed. So right now, the clear-out begins. Rashford is gone. Anthony is gone. Sancho is gone. That was decided in January. They're going to go in the summer. They might not go, but they should go. Barcelona are interested in Rashford. Anthony's doing well on loan, so we'll get someone for him. And Sancho, fingers crossed Chelsea buy him. But the Independent reported that Chelsea are going to send him back. But the Independent also reported that Bayer Leverkusen are going to buy Sancho. And Ten Hag is now the new Bayer Leverkusen manager. So that kind of makes the report not credible because I don't think Ten Hag is going to be buying Jadon Sancho for 25 million from Manchester United. And I don't think Jadon Sancho wants to go and play under Ten Hag at Leverkusen. So we know they'll go. We know Malacia will go. We know heavily that Bayendier is probably going to go. And that's the most likely scenario of bringing in a new keeper to maybe challenge Onana. There's talk of Milinkovic-Savic. Malacia, obviously Lindelof, Eriksen leave on a free today. Apparently Tom Heaton's going to have a 1-year extension. Evans should leave today as well on a 3. The question marks is United open to selling Onana. We've got to wait for Saudi. There's interest from Italian clubs in Rasmus Højlund as well. The big question as well is around Bruno Fernandes because Garnacho's gone. Luke Shaw's, Garnacho's been told to go. Luke Shaw's been told to go. And Onana's been told to go. United open to offers from Rasmus Højlund according to sources. But we do know that Ruben Amorim doesn't want to sell Bruno. So while Ruben Amorim is doing a big clear out, he doesn't want to sell Bruno Fernandes. I think it's confirmed. Is Ten Hag to buy Leverkusen confirmed? I know it's close, but I don't know if it's confirmed. So let's talk about Bruno and Saudi. So this was said. It's important for Bruno Fernandes to see that we're changing a lot of things in our club. Their behaviour every day, organisation, pace of training, all these things. If he sees that we're doing that across all levels, he'll want to stay at the club. He loves the club. So this is almost, I see this as Ruben Amorim really wants to keep Bruno, but he understands that Bruno deserves better. Garnacho's come out of his interview, and look, Garnacho should have played more than 20 minutes, but Garnacho can't come out and be like, blah, 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 because he's not Bruno Fernandes. He's not Cristiano Ronaldo. Whereas Bruno, I feel like if Bruno had come out, we'd probably be like, yeah, first. We'd be like, yeah, first. But anyway, Ruben Amorim is saying, look, it's important for Bruno to see that we're changing a lot of things. The behaviour, the everyday, the organisation. And look, clearly Amorim is changing a lot of things. Because, Marcus Rashford sat on the bench for 10 games and then got shipped off to Villa. And we needed Marcus Rashford's goals, in form or not. Alejandro Garnacho has probably been our most informed attacker the last 2 months in terms of electricity. He looked better. He spoke out against the manager, boom, gone. Would I rather Rashford start up top when he's not a striker over Højlund? Yes. Would I rather Garnacho start left 10 over Mount? Yes. But Amorim's like, boom, ruthless, you speak out against me, you're out. So he's trying to prove a point that I'm changing the culture. He's trying to prove a point of I'm doing it my way. And I think he's trying to convince Bruno Fernandes that next season won't be as bad. I think if Bruno Fernandes believed that this time next year we'd have finished 4th and we'd have got back in the Champions League, I think he'll stay. But I think Bruno's in a situation where he goes, if I think Man United are going to finish 9th next season, I'm going to go to Saudi. But if Ruben Amorim can convince Bruno that somehow we're going to finish 4th, which is going to be a difficult thing to convince when we've won 4 Premier League games in 2025 and 3 of them were against Southampton, Ipswich and Leicester, maybe he can convince Bruno to stay. Amorim also said on Bruno Fernandes, He wants to win with this club and he trains and behaves at a high level. Everybody here needs to do that. We will be here for that in regards to Bruno Fernandes as well. So I think there's a feeling Bruno could go, but it's not 100% known. The Muppeteers did say, and go check out their YouTube channel, they do get lots of information, credible information. They said that United are thinking about the Bruno Fernandes offer from Al Hilal, and there's a possibility Bruno can leave this summer. And they said yesterday there's 72 hours to respond, which says to me there's about 54 hours to respond. So we should know maybe by Tuesday what's happening with Bruno and Saudi. I think they're suggesting there's maybe a deadline of Tuesday in regards to Bruno Fernandes and Saudi. A lot of people in the chat saying bye-bye Bruno, which surprises me. I think we need Bruno next season. When the club is as bad as it is, we need Bruno next season. If we'd have finished 4th and Bruno wanted to go, and we could trust the other players to step up next season, and we were going to get 100 million plus for Bruno that was turning 30, I'd get it. But when we're finishing 16th, maybe 17th if we lose today and Tottenham get a result, I do feel like we're going to need Bruno's leadership and everything next season, and Amorim clearly wants him to stay. So I want Bruno to stay. I think he's a fantastic player. Look, 150 million pounds for a player that's going to turn 31. You have to look at it and go, yeah. And he was crap in the final. Like, I love Bruno. I'm Bruno's biggest fan, but he was crap in the final. But a lot of people are saying bye Bruno, let's take the money for Bruno. But I just think right now we'd struggle without Bruno next season. I just don't think we're in a place to let go of Bruno. 150 million, you've got to think about it. You've got to think about it. But do we trust Ineos and Man United to replace Bruno? I could see Man United selling Bruno and replacing him with Ederson. It's like when we sold Mctominay and replaced him with Agate. But Agate doesn't bring the goals Mctominay brings. We needed a DM, but we should have signed Agate the summer we signed Mount. And then we should have been replacing Mctominay with a number 8 / number 10, but we didn't. So knowing United, they'd sell Bruno and replace him with midfielder that doesn't score goals. Like, that's my worry. That's my worry with selling Bruno. Can I trust United to replace him? I'm just going to take a swig of water and then I want to get into the Garnacho news. So, it's come out that Garnacho will not be involved today. Garnacho will not be involved today. David Ornstein, I'm sure you're aware, reported yesterday that Ruben Amorim has informed the Manchester United squad that he will be in charge next season and told Garnacho to find a new club. The Muppeteers even said that Amorim has had issues with Garnacho's attitude since he joined in November. And that is correct, because I remember the Manchester derby, Rashford and Garnacho got dropped for different reasons. But I think Garnacho's was for, like, Amorim was talking to him and he was walking away or something. And we know that Amorim and Garnacho had some issues in that November-December period, which is why Garnacho was up for sale in January. And then they sort of made up and Garnacho sort of got better and better. And it's actually looked quite good these last few months, in my opinion. But there was issues with Garnacho and Amorim in January. Garnacho's relationship with the club hasn't been the same since Amorim dropped him versus City and put him up in the January market. The only reason United then took Garnacho off the January market is because we got rid of Rashford, we got rid of Anthony, and we couldn't find a replacement for them. So Amorim was like, well, you physically can't get rid of Garnacho now because you ain't replaced Anthony and Rashford. That's what Amorim said. But it was said as well by Sully that the relationship is broken as well. Go check out Sully on Twitter, very credible source of information, get stuff from behind the scenes. He said that Ruben Amorim and Garnacho's relationship is broken and Garnacho will not even be in the matchday squad tomorrow. So not even benched. Like, there's a chance that Garnacho won't even be in the matchday squad tomorrow. There's a lot of rumours going about the matchday squad as well. There's talk of Mount playing. There's talk of Heaven starting today. Onana potentially being dropped as well. There's a lot of talk going out online from people as well. So it'll be interesting to see the matchday squad. But I assume Garnacho won't be in the matchday squad. Surely he'll be at the stadium because it's the last game. Maybe, I don't know, but it looks very toxic between Garnacho and Amorim. It looks very, very toxic between Garnacho and Amorim. Anyway, let's get into some more updates and stories. I just want to look at the chat. Onana and Shaw is going great. Those donkeys got to go. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to say this again. This doesn't mean Shaw is leaving. This doesn't mean Onana is leaving. But what this does mean is that United want Shaw to go and they want Onana to go, and they've communicated that with Shaw and Onana, and they've told them to go. We wanted Eriksen and Lindelof to go last summer. They didn't go. but we want to get rid of them. And Luke Shaw is about wages, and Onana is about we need 26 million because that's on his book value. That's the situation there. But look, right now, we're in a position where how many players could leave? Let's think about it. Let's go through the Manchester United squad, actually. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to leave this summer. Manchester United squad. They're going to give me an advert about buying a kit, aren't they? Are they not? Oh. Anyway, let me share my screen with you guys. So this is the Manchester United squad. Yeah, not many good players on the screen, I know. Like, Bayindir is going. There's more chance of Bayindir going than Onana, according to reports. So Bayindir looks a goner. Tom Heaton, apparently he's going to stay another year, probably because we want to get rid of Bayindir and Onana. And Andre Onana, it depends on the offers. Amorim is open to selling Onana. United are open to selling Onana. Reports now coming in, Onana's open to leaving. It depends on the offers. It depends on the offers. Now going down. Victor Lindelof is confirmed. Romano confirmed another exit today, which is Victor Lindelof, or yesterday, sorry. Mazraoui will stay. De Ligt will stay. Maguire will stay. He will see out his contract and leave on a free this time next year, I believe. Leacher will stay. Obviously injured, can't sell him. Lassia, United want to sell. Who knows? He could go out on loan again, but we want to sell him. Dorgu will stay. Obviously, Lenny Yoro is going to stay because he's a very good player and probably the only positive out this season. Delo is set to stay. Despite Delo being a bit hit and miss, especially in the wing-back role, it was actually reported that Ruben Amorim is a big fan of Delo and likes Delo and thinks he's got the right mentality. And I think Ruben Amorim is clearly doing a cultural reset. Because I think Ruben Amorim is keeping... I think that Garnacho and Rashford are better than Mason Mount. But Amorim doesn't like Garnacho and Rashford's surely mentality, but he likes Mason Mount's mentality. So I think what Ruben Amorim is doing is it's not about even just how good he thinks a player is. I think he's looking at the cultural reset. And that's why he likes Delo. Luke Shaw's obviously been told to go, but wages, injuries will be difficult. Aiden Heaven obviously going to stay. Some reports that he's going to start today as well, although not confirmed. Sorry, my phone is just pinging at the moment. Harry Amas could go out on loan. Evans is leaving. Fredrickson will probably go on loan. Harry Amas could definitely stay. If we don't sign a wing back, Harry Amas will stay as a backup for depth. But I think if we sign a wing back, then I think Harry Amas will go out on loan. Mount is going to stay. Bruno, look, we're gonna know in the next week with Bruno. I think if nothing happens in the next week with Bruno, he'll stay. Because although Bayern and PSG have interest in Bruno, they're not going to give Man United the money they want. Saudi will give us the money we want. I think we'd only sell to Saudi. Ericsson's gone. That's Casemiro again. This is one to watch. I think Casemiro is going to stay and run down his contract. I do think Casemiro is going to stay and run down his contract. But it's one to watch. Agate is believed to be safe. Maino, there's question marks around it, but he's believed to be safe. It's believed apparently next season, Man United are going to work really hard in pre-season and getting his fitness and physical levels up because they think he's a fantastic player. Physical levels have dropped. Collyer, I think a loan is likely. Collyer is one of those where I think he could be in Elanga where we sell him for 15 million for PSR reasons, but I actually want to see more of Collyer next season. I'm starting to like Collyer a lot. I know we haven't seen it much, but I like him. I'd like Collyer to be involved next season or at least go out on loan. I'm going to be honest, but something tells me we could sell him for PSR reasons. Something tells me we could. Gore's going to go. Højlund, it depends on offers. I'll be honest, I see Højlund going on loan with an option to buy. We need 40 million to sell Højlund. There's also a few people inside Ineos that do rate Højlund and believe he can be a top striker, which is fair. He showed a lot of promise at Atalanta. He showed a lot of promise in his first season. This season's been atrocious, but Ruben Amorim knows that Højlund cannot be his starting striker next year. Højlund, I think he goes to Italy on loan with an option to buy, if I'm going to be totally honest. Rashford will go to Barcelona. If Villa beat us, which isn't a bad thing, and they get Champions League football because somebody else drops points, he could go to Villa. Now, look, do I want us to beat Villa? Yes, I want us to win. I want us to end on a win. But if Villa win and it means they get Champions League football, it's not the end of the world because it means that if Barcelona don't go for Rashford, they probably will get him and he will probably go there. So I guess that makes it easy for us to sell him. Xerxes, I believe, will stay despite rumours of him going back to Italy. Ahmad has signed a new deal, so he will stay. Garnacho's gone. We know he's gone. Anthony's gone. Ethan Wheatley will go. Chido's the future and Sancho's gone. So we could go here. 1, 2. I'm not going to count the youth players, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to say, 7, 8, 9, I'm not going to count those two because they're youth. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're looking at potentially 15, realistically 15 departures. 15 departures. And some of them are question marks like Collyer. Like, I personally wouldn't want Collyer to go. Collyer seems to suit the system would be a shame. Yeah, I think Amorim wants physical levels. Amorim is talking about physical levels and wanting physical levels, this and that. So the way I see it is, well, maybe we keep Collyer. I know he's had fitness issues, this and that. But I think, I'd like to see Collyer. I'd like to see Collyer be involved more. He looked good when he came on versus Arsenal. He's got the legs. Do you know who Collyer reminds me of a little bit? Declan Rice. I like him, and I think something we've done is we have this thing where we overrate but then underrate our academy players. We get an academy player, they have a few good games, we overrate them, then they're a bit average, and then we start underrating them. Like, look at Mctominay and what he's doing at Napoli. Now, I'm going to be honest, when Mctominay was playing as a 6 under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I was very anti-Mctominay. I wanted Mctominay gone. I could not stand Mctominay as a 6 because he was not a 6. But the minute Erik ten Hag last season started playing Mctominay higher up the pitch, I liked him. And I was like, look, I would sell him because we need to bring in a 6, but we also need to bring in someone that's going to score goals if we sell Mctominay. But I said last season, Mctominay, if you use him in his best position, is a decent player. Mctominay is a 6. Never. I never liked him as a 6, McFred. But Mctominay, I thought last season when ten Hag was using more advanced, there was a player there. And Mctominay goes and he's doing well. Alanga, he was frustrated and he was young and he was raw, but look how good he's gone when he's left. And I think Collyer is one of those where we've got Agate, who's been hit and miss. And I think Agate in the Liverpool game, in the Arsenal game, in the big games, Agate's been really good. But in the games where we dominate possession and we're expected to break teams down, Agate struggled a little bit. So I look at it and I go, well, if we're not 100% convinced on Agate, let's see what we have with Collyer here. Because we do this thing, Dean Henderson's gone. Well, he would have been our best goalkeeper. Alvaro Fernandes is gone. He would have been our best left back. McTominay's gone. He would have probably started over Højlund in the final when he's not a striker. Do you know what I mean? We do all of these things where we get rid of players and we're like, oh, so I would like to see Collyer. I'd like to see Collyer involved. We need to get good, experienced players in with the right mentality. Otherwise, all the good youth we have at the club is going to get destroyed. Fair comment. Rashford will not go to Barcelona. Barcelona, is it Deco or or is it Flick? Barcelona have spoken out publicly about Rashford and how they like him. Like, you do know that. Mctominay's an 8, so is Collyer. Collyer reminds me of Declan Rice. He could play as a 6. I do think he's better as an 8. I think he's got the legs. I think he could play as a 10 with his running power. Collyer is rapid, by the way. Absolutely rapid. I think he could play in the pivot, or I think he could play as a 10. But I like Collyer. I don't know if I don't know if he'd start today, but I'd like to see Collyer get 20 minutes off the bench today. 100%. System. Football is simple sport. Score more goals than your opponent, you win. I tell you what, we need to score goals next season. And that's why apparently Ineos are looking to bring in 3 goal scorers. I'll get into a couple other updates, but I don't want the show to be too long. But it was said in regards to Alejandro Garnacho, by the way, in terms of selling him. Oh, that's the wrong screen. That's the wrong screen. So I don't think I'm going to have time to get through all of the stories today. But in regards to selling Garnacho, this was said. Manchester United wants 60 million for Garnacho in January, but that price is now expected to drop. Manchester United wants 60 to 70 million Garnacho. Apparently, Man United are not happy that someone sent the story to David Ornstein that, Garnacho had been told to look for a new club by Amorim. Apparently, people, Man United aren't happy because that means it's harder to sell Garnacho. United wants 60, 70 million for Garnacho. They're now looking at 50 million because everybody knows their negotiating position is incredibly low because of this whole situation, apparently. So that's with Garnacho in regards to him. It also said now that, 55 to 60 million is what they hoped for. It could now be lower than 50 million. And Garnacho is not expected to be involved in the squad today. That was said. The Muppeteers said a couple of days ago as well. They spoke about a lot of forwards leaving. We know now that Garnacho and Rashford gone, with Anthony gone and Sancho gone, there's no wide players at the club other than Ahmad, but there's no real wide players at the club at all. So the Muppeteers said that United do want to sign 3 forwards, 2 of them being 10s. So we need a striker, but we also need 2 number 10s. But I'm going to say this now. Because we're selling Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho and Sancho, we also need a wing back. We need a natural wing back. We need a natural wide player. So yes, we've got Ahmad, And yes, we can bring in Cunha, and yes, we can bring in Mbeumo. But the way I see it is a striker, Cunha, and Mbeumo, and a wing back. For me, if you're going to offload 4 attackers, a wing back, Cunha, and Mbeumo, and a striker is the way we do that. Probably 5 attackers with Højlund going out on loan. So I think there needs to be a striker, 2 10s, and a wing back at the bare minimum. Because I'm thinking of we need somebody that's maybe attacking from wing back, a bit of depth there to stretch the width. Do you know what's mad about Dumfries? Is we got linked to Dumfries when Ten Hag was here last summer. And I was like, no to Dumfries. He's a back 5 player. We play in a back 4. But I said, if we're playing in a back 5, yes to Dumfries. If we had sat Ten Hag and got Amorim in summer, we would have signed Dumfries and he would have been perfect. But there was no point in signing Dumfries last summer because we played a back 4. So we brought Mazraoui in for a back 4, who is not a wing back. I think Mazraoui's been excellent at right centre back, but I'm not convinced by Mazraoui at wing back. There was rumours around Roger Fernandes, but I don't know if it was just kind of made up because we missed out on Kenda. So they're like, who's the next young Portuguese right wing back talent we can link United to? That's the only question around it. Garnacho could be another one we regret selling if he improves his finishing. If Garnacho improves his finishing, he's going to be a top player. I generally think Garnacho could go to Arsenal, could go to Chelsea and be a really good player for them. I'm going to be honest. I think we will regret selling Garnacho. I get why he's gone, the situation with Amorim, but I think we will regret it. Thank you very much for the super chat. I can't believe I missed this. It didn't come up on my screen, but it said all the players we want out of 10 Hag signings. Basically, Onana, Højlund, Mount in one window. Onana, Højlund, Mount was one summer window. Look, I don't think Mount is a bad player. His is more due to injuries. But Onana, Højlund, Mount in one window. You know, it's 85 million on Anthony. So Casemiro's been good, but was it 70 million quid nearly? Eric's, yeah, it's... The only 10 Hag signing people want to keep is the signings from this summer, which is like Xerxes, but people have question marks around it. The Lick people have question marks around, but I like them both. Euro's probably the only signing we've had, and maybe Mazraoui, probably the only signings on 10 Hag everyone's like, keep them. Out of all his signings. And Ten Hag had open heart surgery. We just didn't do a good job of it. We botched it. We absolutely botched it. Be nice to see Mantata or Cabasson involved today. It would be nice. It'd be nice to see a few youth players involved today. I think Amorim will go strong, but I think Amorim will also be thinking about next season. I think there will be players like Heaven over maybe Luke Shaw. I think there won't be Garnacho. I think he will be thinking about next season with his lineup, but I think he could involve a few youngsters. I think he could involve a few youngsters for sure. Eze from Palace, we've been linked to him. If we get Cunha, I wouldn't get Eze. Because Eze and Cunha like the left. If we get Cunha, we go for Mbeumo or Semenyo. If we don't get Cunha, you go for Eze. But I think we're going to get Cunha. I think United will announce Cunha's a done deal in the coming days. They know that the feeling and the vibes around Man United is negative. We've lost the Europa League final. The vibes and everything around Man United is negative. So I think United's response to sort of all these negative vibes is we'll announce Cunha over the weekend. To be honest, I wouldn't look. There's reports that Cunha's already a done deal. It's not credible sources. But I wouldn't be shocked if United announced something in regards to Cunha soon. Romano did say that United are going to be very busy this summer. Again, I will get the information up here. Romano did make suggestions that United will be very busy this summer in terms of buying and selling players. So let's hope he's correct. I think we will be busy. I think the only good thing to come out, and I'm being serious about it, I think the only good thing to come out of this Europa League loss is the fact that I think it's going to just give Man United the kick up the arse to sell all the players that need to be sold, to get them out. Like, I really think it's made it easier because their wages are 25% lower. United are ready to, kick them out and do business. That's what I think the only good thing to come out of it is. Obviously, Real Betis are interested in buying Anthony is now being reported. There has been a few links to João Pedro. There has been talk of United wanting 3 attacking additions, and the United are going to be busy. There's a lot of talk about United ready to have a busy summer. So, look, is it PR spin? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think we will have a busy summer. Sully Talks has just said Onana is dropped. Has he? Let's refresh. Big up, Sully. Sully's a very good source of information. Very good source of information. So there's more. So there's now confirmation in Onana being dropped. Now confirmation coming out and Onana being dropped. So Sully's a very good source of information. He said, understands Onana is set to be dropped for Manchester United's lineup today. Future remains unclear where we head into summer. So we started by talking about Luke Shaw and Onana, and we can end with Sully, who I think has got about 95% of his information correct. I think out of the 100 stories he's dropped, I'd say he's pretty much got them all spot on. Bar one, I think was about Dermot Me starting, but that was because it got literally changed last minute over a fitness test. It's a very credible source of information. Sully pretty much gets everything spot on. It's now saying, understand Andre Onana is set to be dropped from Manchester United lineup versus Villa today. And future is unclear. So yeah, big up Sully. Go give Sully a follow. Honestly, he does some really good work, gets some really good exclusives there. But listen, people, I want you to go over now and raid Never a Foul. They're discussing, the word still, the transfer news, updates, some more general football chit chat channel. Thank you all for tuning in. If you did enjoy today's live stream, make sure to subscribe. If you want more content, I will be live tonight, or there will be a short video tonight. I hope you enjoyed. Let's hope we can get a win versus Villa. Let's hope we can see something different. And go, and raid Never a Foul. See ya. Bye.